Okay. So go ahead and sit in that simple cross legs position. Feel firm with the base. So your hips firm, belly firm. And as you're pulling your hips in and your belly back, get the feeling of the whole leg sort of not hardening, but toning, holding a little bit in with the legs. And then from that sense of firmness at the legs and the hips, pull up through the spine. Broaden across your chest, across your collarbones. Let's just take arms out for a moment and breathe. Turn your thumbs back and your biceps back. Keep firming your hips. Keep firming your shoulder blades onto your back, and then bring your hands in prayer. Close the eyes. Relax the eyes, relax the face, feeling the breath coming in, and as best you can, touch the breath evenly in your chest, in the front chest, the side chest, and the back chest. So let that feeling of the breath draw you inward, feeling the shape of your body and just the space surrounding you, the floor under you. Coming more into the moment now, here. And keeping your chest really lifted, bow your head down. And then bring your hands down. Raise your head up and open up your eyes. And let's straighten out the legs. Just stretch the two legs forward. Pull your belly back a little bit so you're still sitting up and firm at the hips and the abdomen. Reach up with your arms. Breathe and reach out with your arms. Okay, let's stand on that. So go ahead and move the blankets to the side if you have blankets on your mat. And stand kind of in the center of your sticky mat or wherever you're working. Have your feet apart a little bit, like hips distance. And then reach up with your arms. Inhale. And then reach out with your arms. Exhale, your arms down. And then let's do that again. Reach up with your arms. Inhale. And then out with your arms, exhaling. Good, and letting your arms come down. All right, put your 2 feet together and hands to hips. Elbows back a little bit, and then just see if you can lift your right foot a tiny bit up off of the floor, and then set it down. And then when you lift your left, just bring your leg slightly forward, and then set it down. Now let me just turn to the side. We're just gonna do it again. So when you lift your right, just bring it a little bit in front and then set it down. And then when you're ready, lift your left and just bending the leg up a little bit in front and then set it down. Good, okay. Now separate your feet again, hips distance. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, reach out. And again, inhale, reach up. Exhale, reach out. Good. Okay. So then feet together, hands to hips, elbows back a little bit. And then this time when you bend your right leg, turn it out and bring your foot at the ankle and set it down. And then the other side and down. And we're going to repeat. When you're ready, the right one and down. And when you're ready, when your balance is there, the other side and down. Okay, feet a little bit apart, slightly bending the knees, reach up, and then reach out and straighten your legs as the arms come down, and then slightly bending the knees, reach up, and then take arms out and down as you straighten the two legs up. Good. All right, so we're like a little bit warmed up. Go ahead and put your hands behind you and see if you can clasp them. If you can't clasp them, you can just grab your fingers and just gently take your arms back. Make sure you're breathing. Good. And then bring them in and down. Rest a little bit and change the interlock or hold the other fingers. And then again, just take them back a little bit. Good. And then bring them down. Okay, go wide out with your two legs and take your arms out. Turn your hands up and take your arms up. Turn your hands out and bring the arms down. Good. Hands to hips, elbows back. Turn your whole right leg out. Stretch the two arms. Reach the arms up. And then turn your hands out and bring your arms down. Turn your foot forward, so 2 feet forward. Hands at hips, elbows back. Form your belly a little bit, and then turn your whole left leg out. And then arms out, hands up, reach up. And then turn your hands out, reach your arms out, and then hands here, foot in, and walk yourself back in. Kind of roll your shoulders a little bit. And then bending your two legs, reach the arms up. Breathe, straighten the legs, reach the arms out and down. Good, hands to hips. And then we're gonna do that, I'm turning just so that you can see a little bit better. We're gonna do that one where you just bend the right leg in front, pull your abs back and lower, and then the second side, pull your abs back and lower. Good, all right. Okay, so if you've got something going on and you can't stand out wide, you can always, rest as needed. So a few of you I know have some ankle and knee and stuff, things happening. So just taking your precautions. Let's put hands at the hips and go out with a nice wide stance. And then your whole right leg, turn it out, right foot turns out. And extending two arms out. Draw your abs back, try to get real tall, and then breathing, go over the right leg, stretch the arms apart, breathing, and then all the way back up. And then turn your leg in and just let your hands come on down. For a little bit of a break, a little bit of a pause. And then stretch your arms and turn your left leg out. Get really tall and going over to the left. Breathing, and up you come, and hands can come in, leg comes in, and let's bring the 2 feet all the way back in. Okay, that was really good. So if you can take downward facing dog, take downward dog, just placing hands down, walk back. If downward dog isn't working for you right now, maybe child's pose. Or even laying on your back and drawing your legs in. But if you can come into dog pose, go ahead and really stretch your arms, take your hips up, bend your knees a little bit, and go up higher with your hips. That's it. Keep breathing, and then try to straighten your legs. And they might, not straighten all the way today. Stretch your heels back a little bit. Try to take your heels back a little bit. There you go. Poses look really good, you guys. Keep breathing. If you need a rest, you can always do a child's pose. Good, and then come into child's pose. Just taking the legs down, resting the hips down towards the feet. Arm position optional. You could stretch your arms in front. You could rest your arms back by your feet. Good, and then let's come back up into dog pose. So hands forward, straight arms, turn your toes, lift your hips. Go way up with your heels, way up with your hips. It's okay to bend your legs a little bit at first. And then slowly straightening the legs if you can. Make sure you're breathing. Start taking your heels back. That's it. A couple breaths here. Really lifting up with the hips. Thighs back, long arms. Good, and then come on down into child's pose, or actually just lay on your back. Go ahead and roll over and recline onto your back. And we'll draw the legs in. So this is kind of like a child's pose, right? But just laying the other way. Good. Breathing, you want to feel your back against the ground. Try to relax your ribs, your belly, your throat, your shoulders. All right, now just keep your legs bent like that, but don't hold them anymore, and stretch your arms over your head. Pull the abs down, and take just your right leg up towards the ceiling. Breathe. Good, bend it back in, and then just the left leg up towards the ceiling. Try to pull your abs down a little bit, and then bend it back in. Now just see about both of them up. If that's too hard, then you just do one. Pull your belly down and breathe. And then bend them in. And now we're gonna put the feet on the floor and bring the hands down beside your hips on your mat. Open up your chest a little bit and then bend both knees back to the chest. You don't need to hold them with your hands, just bring them in. Pull the belly down, and we're gonna stretch right leg back up towards the ceiling. And lower it. And then left leg up when you're ready. Breathing and lower it. And then maybe trying both, if that makes sense, in your legs and your back. If it's too hard, you just do one. And then lower. Now let's put 2 feet on floor. And then cross the right ankle over the left knee. You could just move your hands in the most comfortable place. Sometimes I like to just put them on my belly. Make sure you're breathing. Optional to stay here with that right hip in the external rotation like this, or possibly pull the legs in towards the chest. And so if you pull your legs in, you can kind of reach up and grab your left leg. And now let's change. Optional to pull the legs in. Breathing. Good. Okay. So just take your knees back towards your chest, your hands beside you. Roll your chest open, and then straighten both legs up, and then bend them. And then straight back up. Now that's in that 90-degree angle, and now bend them. And now try taking them out at 60 degrees from the floor, and then bend them. So we're not gonna hold it out there. And then straight up 90, bend, and out 60, and bend. Keep breathing, and we're gonna go 90, and breathing, bend them, and breathing out at 60, and then bend them. Now let's put feet on floor. Good, okay. Cross the ankles and lower the legs towards the floor in simple cross legs. If that's, deeply uncomfortable, then of course don't stay. If it feels good to stretch your arms over your head, stretch them and just feel how your breath kind of naturally wants to come in a little fuller. And let's bring the arms back down and change. If the legs are crossed, let's change the cross. So, of course, if it doesn't feel good in your hip or something, then you straighten your legs. But take your arms back over if you like the way that feels. And then lower your arms. Now hug your knees in for a moment and then roll over and sit on it. Okay, so take one of your blankets and we're gonna roll it from so I'm holding it from the folded side and we're gonna roll it kind of maybe halfway, sort of so not the whole roll. And we're gonna lay on it. So a few of you know that when you lay over the roll, you need another blanket for your head. So if your neck bothers you in this, then you have to have a second blanket ready for your head. So you can turn your back to that rolled blanket. I leave my legs bent as I lay on it. And you wanna you want to use the roll to open up your middle and upper back. So try to place the roll at the bottom of your shoulder blades. Arms go out. And breathe. So at first, when I lay on it, my rib cage is tight and it's resisting it, so it's up a little bit towards the ceiling, and so don't push down, but just see if you can relax towards the blanket. If your neck is bothering you at all in this, you grab your second blanket and put it under your head. Make sure you're breathing. Try different positions with your legs. So sometimes I go with my feet wide and my knees together, softening the belly. And then sometimes I do the opposite, feet together, knees apart in Baddha Konasana. And then sometimes I go straight out on the floor. So just try different leg positions and see how your middle back and your lower back respond to that. Finding where you can relax the best. So, for some of us, that's knees bent, feet on floor, knees to ceiling. For some of us, it might be cross legs. At this point, if you need to come up, if you're spasming in your back, then of course you come up. But the others, if you can, stretch your arms over your head. Take a fuller breath. Maybe even on one of your exhales, open up your mouth and let that breath kind of come out audibly, like you're trying to relax on that exhale. And then let your arms straight back out at the sides. Bend the knees, feet to floor, knees to ceiling, and we're going to roll over and sit on it. Good, so it's kind of a little bit of a longer hold than I normally keep you in at first at the beginning of your class. So let's just sit for a moment, any comfortable position, and we're just gonna, let the energy sort of normalize through the spine. Feel how you're feeling after opening up your chest like that. Okay, so those of you that are feeling sort of woozy or like you would need to stay really grounded, if you're feeling like that, then you could do child's pose or laying on your back, hugging your knees in. Those of you that are feeling like you're just starting to kind of wake up and feel better, downward facing dog. So it's optional right now. Either downward dog, child's pose, or laying on your back. If you need to feel more grounded, more stabilized, then you can do, laying down on the back. But otherwise, come into downward dog if you can. If you're in your downward dog, really take your thighs back. Hard back with the thighs now. Like you could put your heels down and take your thighs back. That's really good. It's nice. It's really good. Keep breathing. And then child's pose, just for a moment. Good. And then laying onto the back. So go ahead and recline. And now, this time we're only going to pull the right leg into the chest and really stretch the left leg out. Like you could, in fact, hold your right leg with your right hand and then put your left hand on the top of your left leg, your straight leg, and just push it down. Like you could do your two legs in distinctly different actions. Like your straight leg is lowering and your bent leg is coming in, and they're moving in opposite directions. And then try the other side. So you're gonna bend your left leg and hold it with your left hand, and then your right one on the floor, push it down. And just imagine that you could separate your legs like they're going in two different ways. Make sure you're breathing. Good. Okay, feet to floor, knees bent. Kind of even out your hips, your back, and then let's stretch the hamstrings a little. Bring your right leg up, hold the back of the leg, and try to straighten the right one, the one that's up. Soften the belly a little bit. Make sure you're breathing. Now, there's a pretty big group, so there's a different, lots of different levels of class today. Those of you that want to stay right here, that's fine. The others that want to make this harder, your left leg, your other leg can go out straight on the floor. And then maybe even try pushing it down with your left hand. If you put your left leg down, maybe try pushing it down again for a moment with your left hand, and then you could hold on to your right leg again. Make sure you're breathing. And then release it. Let's change sides. So when you're ready, you can catch the back of your left leg, straighten it as best you can today, soften the belly a little. And then it's optional to slide the right leg out on the ground and maybe even push it down for a moment with the right hand. Breathe. And then maybe holding on again with two hands onto that left leg. Great. Okay. Hug them both in. Just drawing both ones in. And then bending, your legs are already bent, but just bring your feet down on the floor, but try to walk your heels towards you. So sometimes I put my feet down and leave my feet there, and then I scooch my body towards my feet. So I'm trying to get a little bit closer to my heels. Of course, just do what your knees will allow you to do. And then get your arms under you a little bit more. Kind of tuck your arms under you, and now lift your hips up. Take a breath, and then get your arms more deeply under you, and try to lift up a little bit higher. Keep breathing. So working Setu-Banga. And then undo it, get your arms out a little, lay yourself down. If you can comfortably cross the legs into simple cross legs on the floor, do. Otherwise, you could just stay with your knees to ceiling if that's better. And change that cross if they're crossed. Hug knees in, and let's roll over to sit up. All right, so we're gonna go into a downward dog and lift your leg up. So you need to have some space behind you, so you're not kicking any furniture. I need to be careful about that because I got all this furniture here. So watch for just a sec if you want. So we're gonna go into a dog pose, and then you're gonna bend your right leg and just lift it and then bring it down. So that's where you need to just make sure you have the space behind you. So when you're ready, go ahead and go on up, downward dog. And then bend your right leg in momentarily and then lift it up. And then bend it back in and bring it down. And then when you're ready, bend your left in and stretch it up. Make sure you're breathing, and then bend it in and bring it down. Now stay there in your dog pose unless you need to rest, stay there. And let's try it again. Draw your right leg in and stretch it up. Oh, it's so good. And then bend it in and bring it down. You're doing great. When you're ready, do your other side. Breathing, that's so good. And then bend it in and bring it down. Now child's pose, just a resting pose for you. So if child's pose doesn't work, then you're gonna do a resting pose, just where you can soften here. Okay, so then sit comfortably for a moment. So we're going to do Virabhadrasana 2, but I want to show you, in case you need it to be a little bit easier for any reason. I'm going to grab a chair real fast. So say for, any reason you need to have the energy just like a little bit more resting, or your knee has been injured or something. I'm sitting on my chair, and then I'm gonna turn to the right and have the right leg bent. And so now, or this is awesome when you're pregnant. I don't think any of you are pregnant. I don't think I have the pregnant students today. But so you can see how if you needed to take it a little bit easier, you could use a chair right now. And then those of you that are able to do the full pose, then you're just gonna stand up and you don't need a chair. So let's all come up into upright, and those that are using the chair can go ahead and sit on the chair, and the others go ahead and take hands to hips, and we'll go out wide. And then turn, if you're standing up, turn your right leg out, and if you're seated, just slide and take that right leg, okay? And then stand up nice and tall, and then bend your right leg directly over to the right. Okay. All right, so let's re-straighten, and let's reach up with the arms, and then keep your arms up. Actually, if you can, hook one thumb underneath and pull up higher, and then re-bend that right leg. Try to reach up, try to really reach up, and now re-straighten it and lower your arms and turn your foot forward. Good, and then if you're on the chair, just kind of slide over, get ready for the other side, and then turn that left leg out and bend left leg. Try to pull your belly back and get real tall, and then re-straighten left, and then reach up. Try to find the other thumb underneath. Pull up really, really high, bend your left leg, and keep pulling up. Almost like someone was hoisting you higher. And then straightening that leg, you can lower your arms and turn your foot in and carefully stand back together. If you're on the chair, you can just bring your legs even. Good. Okay, so wide distance again. Hands to hips. Right leg, turn it out. Right foot, turn it out. Reach up, get taller. Bend right leg. Breathe. Now keep that up feeling and stretch your two arms out. Look over your right hand. Turn your head to gaze at the right hand. And then straighten the front leg and bring your hands down, turn feet forward. And now left leg, turn it out, left foot turns out, reach up, find the other thumb, get tall, 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 and bend your left leg. Keep going up with your energy, stretch your arms out, and it's the head, not the ribs, it's the head that turns. Beautiful. And then straighten that leg. Hands can come in and foot turns in, leg turns in, and then walk yourself back in. Nicely done, you guys. Poses look really good. Okay, so watch for just a sec. I'm turning sideways just so you can see a little bit. I got my feet apart, bending my knees, and folding forward into a resting Uttanasana. So go ahead and have your legs bent. Come on down, that's it. That's it. Breathe here. You could have your fingers on the floor. You could have your hands holding onto your legs or your forearms, wherever you feel the most stable. Just let your legs stay a little bit bent like that. Make sure you're breathing. So say if this is like a really challenging position, then maybe you should come up and take a break. If you're okay to stay here for a few more breaths, bring your fingertips onto the floor, straighten your arms and look forward, or pull forward rather with your spine. That's it. And then maybe slowly straighten the legs a little bit more, but try to pull forward with your spine still. Make sure you're breathing. Good, and now really bend the legs and stand. So you're gonna start rounding up and standing, and then once you're upright more, you can straighten up your legs. Good, okay, so if you're dizzy at all, just, keep your feet apart if you need to, but if you're ready to go right together with the two legs, take them together. Take your thighs back, your abs back, broaden your collarbones, extend the arms at the sides and be in Tadasana. Take your head back a little bit just so it's right on top of the spine. Take your arms out, palms up, and reach up. And then reach your arms back out and down. Hands to hips. And then bend your right leg out to the side and lower it. Pin your hips in and take your other leg up and lower it. Good. Okay, so the next one we do, if you're able to bring your foot all the way up into full pose, you'll reach down and grab it and take your foot up, but you don't have to. So if it's better to be here, you just work at that height. So when you're ready, your right leg, turn it out. If you can, you pick it up and bring it all the way up. But if you need to keep it in the lower position, that's fine. Pull your belly back a little bit, and then if your balance is there, take the arms all the way up. Lower the arms and the leg, and pause for a moment with your feet on the floor. Feel your legs compact, your belly back. Breathe. So this is where you're getting ready for your next side. So you really want to firm the legs in. And then either bringing the leg in the lower position or reaching and bringing the foot up to the high complete spot, and then possibly arms up if the balance is there. And then arms down and leg down. Good. Separate your 2 feet just to your hips distance. Bend the legs and reach the arms up. Chair pose. And then straighten the legs and lower the arms down. Hands to hips, go out wide. Right leg, turn it out. Keep it straight. Stretch your arms. Trikonasana, right side. And up. Turn leg in. That's so good. Keep your arms out. And then second side, left leg turning out. Stretch your arms as you go left. Try to pull the arms out. And then up you come. Keep wide, stretch your arms. Turn your right leg out and bend right leg. Stretch your arms. And then straighten. Right leg, turn it in. Stretch your arms, turn your left leg out, then left leg. Straighten. Foot in, arms down, walk back in. Good. Pause for a moment. Get your balance, make sure you're breathing. Separate feet hips distance, Utkatasana. Bend the legs, reach the arms up. Pull your abs back a little bit. And then straightening your legs, lower the arms. Downward facing dog. Thighs back. Straight arms, breathe. And child's pose. Arm position optimal. Good, so we're gonna lay on the belly, and sometimes when you lay on the belly, it's nice to have another pad underneath you. So if you wanna put a blanket underneath you, you can, and then when you're ready, stretch out your legs behind you. Get long with your belly. So I kind of plant my forearms on the floor and I'm pulling my belly forward and my legs back. Breathe, and then if you can, keep your left arm in front, bend your right, and reach back and take your right foot. Try to take your tailbone down. Keep breathing. Looks good, and let's try the other side. Releasing that right one, reach back when you're ready, take the left. Tailbone down. And releasing, let's go right back to the first one. That's it. Try to bring your foot in a little closer if you can this time and keep lowering the tailbone. And releasing back to the left side if you can. Sometimes you have to just like grab your pants instead of your foot if you can't get your foot. Now those of you that feel like you could take both, just keep that left one and try bending the right and seeing if you can reach back with right and take both. If that's too hard, just go back to the right one. And then if you've only got one, change it over and do your second one. The people that have both, go ahead and release, and then everyone can straighten out the two legs. Let your head come down on your arms if that's comfortable. Put your arms in front and lower your head. Okay, so we're gonna do Salabhasana. Take your legs together and straight back behind you. Forehead comes down on the floor and your two arms come alongside your body. Tighten your legs and then lift your arms and your legs and lift your chest and lift as high as you can. Your arms, your legs, breathe and then undo it all. Come on down and really relax. So you got to make your neck comfortable. If you need to put your arms back in front of you, that's fine. Wherever you can really rest, your neck, shoulders. Sometimes I wiggle a little right and left to get my legs to soften. And then let's try it again. Prepare the two legs together, arms alongside you, forehead is right down, and then tighten your legs, lift arms and legs as high as you can. Try not to let your feet come apart too much. Lift higher with the arms, 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 arms. And then lower it, there you go. And then lower it all back down. Good job, you guys. Let's sit up, come into a comfortable seated. Actually, come into cross legs if you can. Can you sit in cross legs? I think most of you can. So some of you might have like one leg thing going on. You might have to straighten out a leg. That's okay. Otherwise, be in cross legs. And then put your right hand down and reach your left arm over. So your bottom hand, you kind of push it against the ground. And you're trying to open up the waist on the other side. Make sure you're breathing. And then all the way up, and we'll do the other one. So your bottom hand pushes against the floor, and you're trying to open up through that right side. Breathing. And then if your legs are crossed, let's just change that cross, and we'll do this one again. And it looks great, you guys. The second side when you're ready. Okay, so now that I've got you here, let's just do a little bit seated like this. Keeping your right leg bent, stretch your left leg out. And then that arm that is over the straight leg, just let it stretch down, and then your right arm open it up. Open up your chest a little bit. There you go. Yeah. Try not to look down right now. Try to take your ears back. Yeah. Okay, good. And then undo it and just let your arm come down. Change your legs. We're just going to do that on the other side. You go wide with your right leg, kind of out to the side, a little bit wider. There you go. And then when you're ready, stretch that right arm down. And when you take your left arm up, try to open your chest and just take your head back a little bit. Like, yeah, that's beautiful. And then up you come. Okay, just kind of hug your legs in and straight forward. And then let me think for just 1 sec. I want you to turn to the right, bring your left knee up towards the ceiling, and then take your right hand behind you, and we're going to turn to the right. We're going to turn to the straight leg side. Just like that. Breathe. And then undo it. And we'll do the other one. So I know it's hard because you're down seated flat. We're not going to stay long, so just turning now the other way. There you go. Breathing. And then undo it. Okay, so watch for a sec. So I just wanted you to kind of move your lower back a little bit after the Salabhasana, but we're going to go back into a little bit of back bending. So just watch for a sec. I'm going to take this pad underneath and roll it back up. And then, let's go to the full roll this time. And just like we did before, if your neck is sometimes an issue with these, you might need another blanket there for your head. Maybe only a few of you need that. And then we're going to lay over this again. Arms out. So basically the same pose we did before, except now rolling the whole blanket up. So go ahead at first, just lay yourself over it, and then we'll go from there. So try to relax when you lay over it. Leave your legs, let's leave the legs bent for right now, because it's gonna allow your middle and upper back to soften a little bit more. That's right, arms go out at the sides. And remember, you might need a pillow underneath your head. If your neck is uncomfortable in even the tiniest bit, then you're better off grabbing a blanket and putting it under your head. All right, so then from here, if it feels comfortable, put your feet in Baddha Konasana. Taking your knees out to the sides and the soles of your feet together. Allow your ribs to just settle down. Don't push them down, but just let them relax down. And make sure you're still breathing. Relax your jaw, your eyes. And then let's see if you can just take your legs out straight, but wider than you normally do. So a little wider than your hips distance, and let your legs flop and relax. If that, if that doesn't feel good in your lower back, then, you just bend them. If you have the space, stretch your arms over your head. So now you've got your arms and legs kind of reaching a little bit. Breathe, and then just really relax everything. Keep breathing. And now bring it all in, like bring your arms in, bring your legs in, and then when you're ready, roll over and sit on it. Okay, so then we're gonna do a working Setu Bandha and then a supported Setu Bandha. So have the blanket folded up and ready, or a block. If you've got a block or a bolster, you could certainly use that because that's like a little bit of a better tension than the blanket. If you don't have that stuff, then just take your blanket and fold it up so it's chunky and high, kind of like the shape of a block. And then watch for just a sec. I'm gonna have you do this first working. So watch for a moment. I'm gonna have you reclining and then lift. This is what we did earlier in the class. But then after you've done a working one, you're going to lift up and do a supported one with this underneath your sacrum. Okay, so have your prop ready and then lay down, bend your legs. So it could be a block, it could be the bolster, or it could be the blanket folded up. Just have it ready. And then roll your arms under you. So your chest is already a little bit lifted. And then push your feet down, your arms down, and lift your hips. Try to get your arms way under you and lift your chest. So this is the working version of Setu Bandha. Breathe. And then lower yourself down. And then when you lift up again, you're gonna put the prop underneath your sacrum. So when you're ready, lift your hips, grab the prop, the blanket or the block, and slide it underneath your sacrum, and then lift your, don't lift, but roll your arms under you again. So your chest is just like naturally lifted up a little bit. So this is a still Setu Bandha, but it's much more restful because the prop is doing the work instead of the working version. So see if you can feel that the legs are tracking really straight, femur bones straight out from the hips so that the knees are hips distance. And then get your arms tucked under you a little bit more. So it's like you're laying on your arms. Don't push your head down. Try to relax your head, your eyes, your jaw. Feel your breath. And then position your left foot on the floor so that you could bend your right knee into your chest. And then maybe stretch your right leg up towards the ceiling. Keep your chest nice and lifted. And then bend that leg in and set it down. So if I'm doing too much and you need to, do less, you just could stay here. And then if you're ready for your second side, your right foot is strong on the floor, bend your left knee in, lift your chest, and then see if you can stretch your left leg up. Keep breathing. And then bending the leg that's up and setting it down. So just get your feet and your knees nice and even hips distance. If you need to come down for any reason, of course, you can put your back on the floor if you need to. Those of you that are okay here, we're going to stretch the right leg away from the head. Flex the foot and push the heel out against the ground and straighten the right leg away from your chest, away from your head. If you don't like the way that feels in your back, you know, you just bend the leg back in. Breathing here. And then the leg that's out, bend it in. And try your other side, just seeing how it is in your back to take now the left leg out. Couple of breaths. And then bend it in. Good. Okay, so then listen for just 1 sec. I want you to end up out of this one. I want you to end up with your back flat and your legs folded in cross legs up on a blanket or a bolster or a pillow or something. So some of you are on blocks. That means you're going to have to come all the way down and grab a blanket. But a lot of us could just push the blanket away towards the feet and lay the back down. And then cross the legs on the blanket. So, you know, if you were on a block, then you need to come down and grab your blanket or your bolster to put it under your legs. That's fine. Just take your time and see if you can end up with your legs elevated on a blanket or a bolster and cross legs and your back flat. And then just change over that cross. If that doesn't feel good in your legs, you know, you just put your legs out. But if you can do the cross legs deal. Okay, and then roll it over to your side, bend your legs in, roll over, and sit on it. All right. So when we started class, I asked if you could get a chair to get one. And some of you don't have chairs. I'll try to give you modifications without a chair. But let me show you what I'd like you to do if you do have a chair. We're gonna take blankets under the shoulders. And then the chair in front. I lay down with my legs on the chair, my shoulders on the blankets, and my head back. And then I'm gonna try to hold the chair with my hands for a moment and lift my hips up. And then once I'm up a little bit like that, I have to get my arms underneath. So it's very similar to what we were just doing, except my feet are elevated. Okay, so if you've got a chair, go ahead and grab it and start setting up your blankets. And if you don't have a chair, you could maybe put your feet up on the couch or even on the wall. If you don't have a chair, you could even just put your feet against the wall and blankets under your shoulders and try lifting that way. So let's see how you guys are doing. And certainly if you don't have any of this, you could just have your feet on the floor. So lay yourself down with the shoulders on the blankets, the head goes back, and I'm looking at your setups. So far, everyone looks great. And then so go ahead and push your feet down and lift your hips up. And then right away, roll your arms under you more. So push your feet down, lift your hips up, push your feet down, lift your hips up. There you go. And then right away, roll your arms under you more. Yeah, try to get more on your arms and less on your upper back. Try to take your arms towards each other, behind you. Keep breathing. Now let's take a rest. Go ahead and just lay down and put your legs on whatever you're using. Yeah. It looks good. Just rest. Just rest. And now let's try it again. See if you can grab the chair. You might have to pull the chair towards you like that. Yeah. But your shoulders should be on the blankets and your head is back. So your head is lower than your shoulders. And then lift again your hips. Get your arms together behind your back. Good. Good. Yeah. And lowering down and rest your legs. If your neck is not comfortable like that, then, you know, of course, roll over and make it comfortable. If you need to change that blanket, that's fine. All right, good job, you guys. Go ahead and roll over. And if it's available to you, sit in cross legs facing the chair or the couch or whatever you're using and put your head down. So you don't want to put your head on the hard chair, so you put your arms there and then your head on your arms. And of course, you know, if one leg doesn't bend like that, you can always straighten the leg out if you need to. Try to relax your upper back, shoulders, and neck. So you're all the way across the upper back, back of your head, neck, shoulders feel soft and broad. And then let's change the legs. If they're crossed, just switch that cross and bring your head back down. And gently up you come. Okay, so I want to do one more back bending position with you guys. If for some reason, I need to move my screen a little bit so I can see. So if for some reason you need to rest more, you could always lay with your back flat and your legs on the chair. If you need at this point for things to be a little bit more quiet, you could certainly just lay down with your legs on the chair. But those of you that can, move your chair out of your way so you have some more space. And if you have a bolster, we're going to use it. If you don't have a bolster, don't worry. I can help you with some blankets to set this up. But those of you that have a bolster, you're going to use one blanket, one bolster, and I'm going to fold my blanket first in the long, narrow shape. It goes crossways, and then I put my bolster on top of it. So I think you could see it there. So it's like a cross that I've made. The blanket underneath, a cross, and then the bolster on top. Now, if you don't have the bolster, you just do this with two blankets, like that. Okay, so of course the bolster is a little higher. You know, or you could use 3 blankets. If you've got more blankets, that's fine. So I'm gonna sit on this kind of backwards, right? Because I want to lay on it. So I'm sitting on it, my legs are bent, my feet are on the floor. I use my hands and my arms to support me as I lay down, and then take your shoulders all the way to the floor. Leave your legs bent and just get yourself where you're laying over this kind of a bridge setup so that it's going to give you this supported back bend. For the first few moments, just leave your legs bent, and I'm going to come look at you guys and make sure your shoulders are down, and that's it. And breathe. There you go. So I like to stay for a little while with my legs bent, but I know a number of you like to go out with your legs. So if you want to take your legs out at this point, that's fine. And when you put your legs out, if it hurts your back at all, you just bend your legs right back in. Those of you that have the legs out, see if you can come into that like really draping feeling again that we did in one of the earlier poses, where it's like you're not holding on at all with your arms, you're not holding on at all with your legs, you're just like falling open. If that's too much in your lower back, of course, you just bend your knees and leave the legs in a bent position. So why all the back bending? Back bending is great for our attitude. So I need to do back bends very regularly to keep, you know, just equilibrium. So even these supported back bends are just really, really, really good for our mood improvement. And if the legs are out, bend them back in. See if you can slide down or push the bolster towards your feet so you end up with your back flat. And then go ahead and roll over and sit up. We're going to do some very simple seated twists for a counter pose for your back, and then we'll do some relaxing, more quieting poses. So a few of you need to sit up on a blanket for your hips, for your back. So John, go ahead and sit up, and then whoever else, if the low back is a little bit tight, sit up. And then separate your feet to just like hips distance, and we'll bend the right leg out to the side. Cross right hand to straight leg. Sit up nice and tall, breathe. Your other hand can come over to the side. Legs down. Feel the base, ground the base. So for some of us, we're just stay right here and allow for this twist and this stretch on the straight leg. The others can start sliding the front hand down lower. Breathing. Beautiful. And let's slide it all back up and come on up, helping that bent leg with your hand and straightening it. And then feet a little bit apart, bend the left when you're ready. Left hand across. Breathe here. Feel your legs against the ground. Long spine. Maybe staying here, just allowing for that stretch on the straight leg and this twist here. Otherwise, reaching front hand down closer to the outstretched foot. Breathing. Rising on up and taking that leg out, feet apart, hips distance. Let's just repeat. Right leg to the side, bent. This is Janu Shasasana. Crossing right hand over straight leg. Legs down. Those of you that can easily go forward in this, reach your right hand to the inside of your foot. If you need to be further back, you just stay here. But those that can go forward, take the foot, and then the other hand to foot, reach up with the spine. Exhale, bend elbows, and pull forward over straight leg. Make sure you're breathing. Legs go down, straighten the arms, reach the spine up as you release and sit back up, and then that leg taking it out. 2 feet apart, hips distance, and then bending left leg. Left hand over, mild twist here, maybe staying here and just letting that right leg stretch. That's okay. Those that can easily come forward, reach the left hand to inner foot, right hand to outer foot, legs down, spine up. Breathe, exhale, pull elbows apart and forward over straight leg. Continue the breath. Legs down. And then straightening your arms, reach your spine up. And then release and sit all the way up. Good, straighten the 2 legs. Okay. I want to do one more twist. Some of us need to sit on a blanket. So you might have to take a blanket and fold it up and sit up. And some of you can just try this flat. If you want to try it flat, that's fine. If it's really hard, then you'll just sit up on the blanket. Bend your 2 legs a little bit. Put your left hand on the floor and sweep both of your feet over to the right side. And that's where, you might, if your knees are hurting, then, you sit up on blankets under your hips. And we're going to twist away from the feet. Bring your left hand to the ground, your right hand across to your knee, and just gently turn away from your feet. Yeah. Make sure you're breathing. That's it. Yeah. And then let's unwind and bring the legs around in the front, and we'll do the other side. So left hand or right hand down, and your feet go over to the left side. Try to sit up, and we're just gonna take a soft turn away from the feet. And breathe. There you go. Looks really good. Okay, back into the center, straightening 2 legs in front. Now, Supta Baddha Konasana. If you have a bolster setup, do the classic setup that we always do at the studio. Bolster behind you, blanket for the head, roll blanket for the legs. If you don't have all this stuff, don't worry. If you don't have anything but a blanket, open it, roll it, and use that long roll for your legs. So those of you that have the full setup, support the spine, hold the legs with the blanket and lay yourself back. Those of you that don't have all of that stuff, don't worry. You can lay down flat and roll the blanket around your ankles, knees to the side, and come into Supta Baddha Konasana. So, if you have all of the bolster, you want to do it with your chest elevated and supported. Otherwise, you can lay your spine down flat. Relax your belly, relax your rib cage, soften the face, the mouth, the eyes. If there's something bothering you in your legs, then you can just straighten your legs out. In to feel your breath. Following your natural breath. jaw, relax inside of the mouth. So I did this pose earlier today in my practice, and it took my body a really long time to relax, longer than normal. If you feel like you're just starting to relax in the pose, then you could stay in it and enjoy it. And if you're feeling like you would rather lay down in Shavasana, laying down flat with your legs out straight, then you're welcome to roll over and remove the bolster and lay down flat. So it's really just sensing how you're feeling right now. So I was surprised how long it took my body to relax earlier. So if you're just starting to get comfortable, then you're enjoying Baddha Konasana, then stay. And otherwise, lay yourself down in Shavasana if that feels more comforting. There's nothing right or wrong about it. It's just, being true and honest with how you're feeling. Either position, really relax the belly, throat, eyes, and see if you can feel your breath. Now, if your back is still elevated and you're in Supta Baddha Konasana, just undo the legs, undo the prop behind your back, and lay down flat for a little bit. So you just allow your back to settle against the ground, spine flat, and let your legs go out. So we're just going to have a moment in Shavasana where we just really deeply let go. Relaxing the arms and the legs, the hands and the feet. As the weight of the body settles to the ground, feel that you really let go, really let loose, so that all that's left is the body, the breath, and the spirit. Everything else falls away from you for these moments here. Feeling the breath, feeling the life force. Body and the earth. Because we're at home, you can actually stay in your Shavasana for as long as you'd like. If you're ready to gradually in. Coming out of Shavasana, you could put your hands on your belly. You could maybe wiggle your feet, your toes a little. Take your time. Rolling to the side when you're ready. Staying there for as long as suits you. It's optional to stay in Shavasana or gradually come to a comfortable seated position. We'll just leave the mics muted because a few of you are still laying down, and so we'll just keep the sound nice and quiet for them. Namaste. Thank you for being here. Have a great day.